This week's Parsha is Parshas Shemos2. Let's first talk about Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai. Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai is the way we start off the special section by the morning prayers on Shabbos morning, where we start off Yismach Moshe b'matnas chelkai. May Moshe be happy with the gift of his portion. What is this referring to? Why are we referring to Moshe all of a sudden in the middle of Shabbos? What does Moshe have to do with Shabbos? Another question, we say a couple of times throughout Shabbos the Psalm of Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, which is Psalm 104. No, I'm sorry, Psalm 92. So we say Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, a mizmor, a psalm for the day of Shabbos. And then that paragraph in Psalms, paragraph 92, talks about the fact that evil people seem to flourish while righteous seem to suffer. The faith in Hashem, that this is all for a reason. The belief that there will be a brighter day, that we will be redeemed, that we will be released from our suffering. And it seems to have zero connection to Shabbos, but for some reason it is glorified as the mantra of Shabbos, repeating it 1, 2, 3 times throughout Shabbos. So what's the connection between Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos, the psalm specifically made for Shabbos, and also, like we asked before, why by the morning prayers during Shemona Esrei do we refer in the beginning to Moshe? What does Moshe have to do with Shabbos? So the Medrash says that when Moshe went out of Pharaoh's palace and he went to see what his brethren, his fellow Jews, were undergoing, he saw their terrible subjugation, their backbreaking labor, and he decided to take action. What action did he take? He went back to Paro, his adopted father, and said that it doesn't make sense what you're doing. You work the Jewish people 7 days a week. If you're going to work them this hard, their work product is not going to be as exemplary. It's going to be lacking because they need a day to rest, not in order that they should rest for themselves, but it will be more productive for you to give them a day of rest so that they themselves produce better and more efficiently. And to which Paro agreed and gave them which day? That's right, Shabbos. He gave them Shabbos. So Shabbos was their day off. What did they do in Shabbos? So there's a medrash at the end of the parsha, which is talking about, that part of the parsha is talking about where Moshe is now is fleeing from Paro. Paro gets wind of what Moshe is doing, of who he is and so on. And Moshe returns now to Paro's palace, and he requests from Paro 3 days the Jewish people should be able to leave Egypt so that they can go and sacrifice and celebrate a holiday for Hashem. Paro's response is, of course, no, but he explains his response by saying, Val Yishu b'divrei sheker. Now, there's many different translations for this specific word of Yishu, but the Medrash says the language of Yishu comes from the word sha'ashuim, which means delight. So what Paro was saying, according to the Medrash, is that let them not delight with divrei sheker, with words of falseness. What was Paro talking about? What was he referring to? Delight with words of falseness? So the Medrash goes on to say that on the day off, on Shabbos, the Jewish people had scrolls. These scrolls gave them delight. And that's what he said, Al Yishu b'divrei sheker, they shouldn't have time to go and read the scrolls that give them delight. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky says that these scrolls, or one of the scrolls, had this psalm of Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbos. And they used to say it every Shabbos. What was so special about this psalm? This psalm talks about, like we said, that all around us, wicked people are flourishing while we are suffering. And this was the way the Jewish people survived morally, emotionally, through this terrible exile. They thought about the fact that they have to have emunah, they have to have trust in Hashem, And even though it may seem that the wicked prosper, they will be paid their just punishment in time. And just another thing is interesting is that Psalms, all in all, was written by King David, wasn't it? The answer is no. This psalm and a bunch of others were written by other people. And this specific psalm was written by Moshe. Moshe himself wrote this psalm. And maybe he wrote it to comfort the Jewish people in their exile. And now the connection to the prayers on Shabbos is evident. The reason why the Jewish people were able to observe Shabbos in whatever way they observed in those days was because Moshe himself was the responsible party for giving them that day of literal rest from the backbreaking labor. So that's why we have it in the Shemona Esrei of Shacharis on Shabbos. That reason why Mizmor Shir Yom HaShabbos, the psalm specifically commemorating Shabbos, is talking about living amongst prospering evil peoples, because that was the situation in Egypt, and that was what the Jewish people said on Shabbos, and therefore we repeat their actions. Have a good Shabbos.